Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit Britain, a country where the Prime Minister can brand the leader of the opposition as the man who let Jimmy Savile off. And when the leader of the opposition is attacked in the streets by a ravenous mob, he can then send his ministers out to say, not my fault, it wasn't Boris Johnson's fault why this ravenous group attacked the leader of the opposition and David Lammy. How does Boris Johnson do that? How does he get people to just come out and just lie for him blatantly? Also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. So, we have to say congratulations, to Mo Gilligan, right, for hosting the Brit Awards last night. And they had to get in there, first black host, first ever black host of the first black man, right, to host the Brit Awards. And at that moment, right, every single black person just thought, oh God, here we go again. It's the first, oh God, it's the first black man to do this, the first black man. Listen, Trevor McDonald was on my TV every night when I was a child. Right? Why should I be surprised? Right? Why should I? No. I got that wrong. I don't think. I think they expect me to be happy. Why the hell should I be happy? Right? That it's just now you got your fucking racist ass in gear. I'm supposed to be like, oh God, look how well they treat their blacks over here. Piss off. Seriously, right? Our Asian London mayor, has to go around with 5. Count them. 1, 2, 4, 5, right? Armed police officers. 5. That is just unbelievable, right? That the man's got 5 armed police officers around him. That's how he has to roll. You see, all these years, right? I can guarantee you that black and Asian people, we couldn't tell you whether or not Sadiq Khan's doing a good job. Don't know. We can't judge him we can't really judge him as a mayor because all of the reports, right, all the reports are more based on him being an Asian mayor. Right, that's what when you hear you hear people just speaking about him, like just regular people you hear speaking about him, right? And it's the level of hate there is towards Sadiq Khan, right, just leads you to believe, whoa, if they think, right, that telling us, Mo Gilligan, right, is the first black man to host the Brit Awards, right, and you should be happy because of that. Really? Seriously? Right? But don't you think you don't think we're good at stuff as well? We are an educated race of people as well. Right? And these people expect, the Brits, have been dragged kicking and screaming up to this point, right? To be more diverse. Because you go back a few years, and you go back a few years ago, right, and there would have been no black representation in places like the Brits. There'd have been none of that at all. Right, so I don't understand what these people expect. How happy do they expect us to be on a scale of 1 to 10? They say, well, your happiness should be like about an 11. You should be over the moon. Yeah, right. So thank you very much. Shall we move on? Kurt Zouma, right, last night played for West Ham, right, and every time he touched the ball, right, he was horribly booed. Horribly, right? It was nasty. The booing was nasty, and coming from both sides, from Watford, right, who got their ass bust, right, and the West Ham fans as well, right. It seems, that this country, right, will not put up with people, right, that beat up their cats. Too bloody right as well. Right? And you've got people going, oh well, it's cultural. What the fuck are you talking about? It's fucking cultural. You see, this is the thing, now that's another thing, right? How this country's, a lot of this country looks at things, right? Oh well, if that black person's done it, then all black people must be like that. No, I've got two cats, right? George and Piper, right? And Piper's 18 years old, right? So, it's just amazing how quick people can jump to that assumption. Do you know what I mean? They must be all at it. Yeah, it's cultural, right? Now we have to go around to all black people's house and check on their cats. Those cats, what he had, yeah, those are pretty expensive cats. I'm sure those cats would run you in at least £1,000, right? Because they're not you don't see those cats. If you look at the markings on them, you don't really see those cats on the street. So he has paid money for those cats. Do you know what I mean? These are not strays or anything that he's picked up. These are expensive moggies. But 55,000 people have still signed a petition saying, you know what, we want him jailed. And you know what? Yeah, if you're stupid enough, you had to go and do that, and film yourself doing it as well, and that manages to end up on social media, then yeah, it probably deserves to be locked up. Because you know what? Because you're locked up because you're stupid. That's the reason why you're locked up. Right? Yeah, okay, kicking the cat, but the main reason is your stupidity. And that's, so if the police and the RSPCA, the RSPCA, they are very overzealous. They're like the British Transport Police, very, very overzealous, right? Or the Parks Police, very, very overzealous, and they will nick you for anything. So I guarantee you that the RSPCA, are going to get heavily involved, and they're going to get heavily involved. They've probably been to see him already, the RSPCA, right? So that obviously the government's supposed to be announcing some new measures for the NHS to try and get the NHS back in order. And we got Savage Javid, or as you like to call him, Zippy, right? He's promised, I think, 15,000 staff by the end of next month or something like that. I didn't, I was just because I do is most time I listen to the news overnight while I'm sleeping. So I just picked this up in the night when I was sleeping. So apparently, 15,000 staff he's going to whack into the NHS, you know what I mean, to get things moving, and he's promised by 2025 that he will you'll start seeing the backlog of people clearing. I'm thinking, well, how are you going to do that then? 6 million people, right? 1 in 9 of the population on the waiting list, right, for minor operations. And when we say minor operations, these are more like serious operations, like cataracts and knee operations, hip operations, all these type of things. So people are suffering, right? But obviously, if you can pay, whoa, if you've got the money to pay. But then again, we are in a conservative country, yeah. So I'm quite sure, right, that the people of this country have all got the money to pay for their for their cataracts. I mean, a cataract's probably run you in like 7 or 8 grand, I suppose. And knee probably anything from I suppose maybe 9 to 15 grand, I suppose, to have knee replacement. Probably same with the hip, if you can pay for it. But I'm sure, right, a lot of the working class Tories who voted to punch themselves in the face, right, only because they're a bunch of motherfucking racist fools. I'm sure that you all have the money to pull out of your back burner, right? Go down to the doctors, right, with 7 bags of sand and say, "Doc, can you fix up my knee?" Sure, you've got the money to do that, right? But right, I would like to know, how, right, they're going to clear the backlog. How are they going to do that? Because they need more staff. I mean, they're over 95,000 staff members down in the NHS, right? And I would suspect that's even more now, because I'm sure the numbers was around that, right, at the start of the pandemic, and a lot of people have left from since then. So I'm sure the numbers are higher than the figures that they're actually giving. Right? But I would like to know how it is, right, that they're going to get these numbers down, because they're going to need more. Because they're going to need much more buildings now, and they're going to need much more staff, and they're going to need even greater investment into the NHS, right, to even start making a dent in 6 million. Right, it's not as if to say that Zippy has got experience in bringing down numbers like that. right? Because in a few years' time, right, he will be saying the same thing as what they're saying about the pandemic. Oh, well, it's the first time that that anyone's been through a pandemic. He'll be saying, well, it's the first time that that anyone's had like 6 million people on the waiting list to bring it down. And say, well, whose fault is that? It's your fault. That's your fault. Because I'm quite sure, yeah, that when they took over from Labour, right, there was not a million people on the waiting list. I'm sure there wasn't a million people on the waiting list. In fact, I'm quite positive there was not a million people. Now we have over 6 million people on the waiting list. And all of this, yeah, is down to the level of racism in this country, right? Because you see, I look at these people, right? If you look at what's going on in Canada, how they're blocking up all the roads and that, right? And for me, that's a complete disrespect, yeah, to every single person who has died throughout this pandemic because of COVID. For every single one of them who have died, the level of disrespect that these anti-vaxxers are showing to these people, right? For me, it's just rude, because that could have been any one of us who is dead, right? And these people would have been carrying on like this. So just think about that. You just think about that yourself, right? Whether you're an anti-vaxxer or you're really up for the vaccine or whatever, right? Or you're a COVID denier, or you really believe COVID is there. If you was taken down by COVID, right, these people would still be saying the same type of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And for me, right, it's just a complete lack of respect, a lack of understanding, right? And just a lack of care for your fellow citizens around in the world. For me, what's going on in Canada is quite disgusting. Blocking up, trying to ruin the economy. It's just quite disgusting. And when I see people over here with their anti-vax nonsense, I think to myself, listen, or their COVID denial, saying, oh well, the economy. Fuck off with the economy. The economy can always come back. Yeah, dead people can't. Right. So that's the reason why I really can't stand them. I just think they're just a bunch of idiots. The anti-vaxxers and the COVID deniers. Do you know what I mean? I just think they're absolute idiots. I'm not saying, yeah, that everybody should be vaccinated, because if you don't want to be vaccinated, don't be vaccinated. That's down to you, okay? But I'm saying, right, don't be an anti-vaxxer and try and put other people off of it, right? Just make a personal decision for yourself. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And try and keep them, and try and keep it to your motherfucking self as well. Right, I was quick on back with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin had a meeting with Emmanuel Macron yesterday. You know what? Yeah, I looked at the size of the table. When you look at the size of the table, I thought to myself, "Damn!" Right, and the people in Russia are so poor. Right, with a big ass marble table, the biggest piece of marble you've ever seen. Right, I said, whoa! Right, the richness they're showing off to the rest of the world with that table. Right, and then I thought to myself, so many poor Russian people. I think, hold on, but Tin Lizzie just a couple of days ago, last week or whatever, right, took a private jet to Australia for 500 grand. So well, and in this country, yeah, the people are going through the worst. Hold on, it is the worst crisis ever. Highest cost of living crisis ever. That's what we're going through over here, right? And obviously, and Boris Johnson took that same jet, yeah, and flew his ass down to Blackpool the other day. When you see him in Blackpool on the trams and all that, he went and flew down to Blackpool in the jet. Do you know what I mean? When the man could have just taken these people. Do you know what I mean? And then you see, when you look at Vladimir Putin in with his big ass table, and you look at them, flying all over the place in their private jets, and you think, ooh, you know what I mean? And the people of the country, both countries, suffering, but voting in fools all the time. Let's move on to some Brexit. Brexit is causing increased cost, paperwork, delays, say MPs. And that's all it's doing. Right? Because Brexit is going really badly. But that's what the MPs say. Right? The MPs, they're on some committee. Do you know what I mean? So they're talking about it at the moment. And they're just talking about the benefits of Brexit. And the benefits of Brexit, right, is increased costs, paperwork and delays to business. And you know what that means? That means loss of profits. Because that's what happened. That's what's happening to all these businesses. Loss of profits. Unless they've got enough money to go and set up in Ireland or something like that, then it's not going to happen. And transport delays are permanent. A permanent future at Dover. Transport delays are a permanent future at Dover. That's what the transport. That's what the head of the transport companies are saying. Nothing's going to change. Right? This is it forever. Ever, ever, forever, ever, ever, ever. That's it. Right. These are the delays that our drivers are going to face forever. So we're going to come to a stage where international drivers are not going to be coming to Britain. They're not going to want to come over. Right. And now, right, a lot of jobs, where a lot of driving jobs, right, are demanding. A lot of them are asking whether or not you've got a European passport. So a lot of our drivers literally can only drive within this country anyway. I mean, it's very, very difficult for them to even get jobs, right, where they could be held up at customs for so long. So it's a major issue for them. And Jacob Rees-Mogg has been made Brexit Opportunities Minister. You know that Jacob Rees-Mogg is a disaster capitalist, right? So he knows how to make money out of disasters. His dad was the same as well, right? So Jacob Rees-Mogg, right, the man who told you there's going to be cheap shoes for peasants, right, or the man who told you, right, that the fish are happier now because they're good old British fish. And loads of other stupid references, right? Just in fact, everything that comes out of his mouth, right, is a stupid reference. But the good thing is, at least we know, right, there'll be no shortage of the penny farthing with Jacob Rees-Mogg, right? Because remember, Jacob Rees-Mogg, is now, right, going to be taking the country into, he's going to be taking the country into the next, to the next millennium. So he's going to be taking it into, 18, up to like 1801. Right? Because remember, Jacob Rees-Mogg lives in 1917 or whatever. No, 1917. Yeah, 18th century. Right. So I don't know what it is that they're expecting from Jacob Rees-Mogg, but for me, it's going to be a whole pack of foolishness again from Jacob Rees-Mogg, because Jacob Rees-Mogg, I was thinking the other day, I'm already gone over my time. But I was thinking the other day, the only job, if you notice, the only job, right, that billionaires do, right, is politicians. Apart from that, they work at their own companies. If you notice, right, and politicians always saying to us, "Look how hard we work for you. Oh, it's so hard. No one would want to do. I mean, who would want to do this? Yeah, fucking billionaires want to do it." Imagine that. Just imagine that, right? People who are billionaires want to be politicians. So these guys are getting paid less as a politician, right, than what they actually make in a day. Doesn't make any sense, really, does it, when you look at it in monetary values? So there must be some other reason why all these guys want to be politicians. Anyway, guys, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.